Welcome to an all new episode of Changing the Game with G-Lew, Deandra.
The Eve After Dark. You saw it featured in the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show, 50-Yard Line. The Eve After Dark documentary has become a film festival favorite. Now available on Amazon Prime, $1.99 to rent, $4.99 to purchase. Eve After Dark, where it all started. The documentary, now on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and here we go. Welcome to Changing the Game with G-Lew and Deandra Chanel.
Hello.
Everyone, welcome to another show. Happy tonight. We got a good one tonight. Go ahead, Deandra.
I've never cheated so much in my life because we have the Godfather of Westcoast hip hop joining us tonight, which is such an honor and such a blessing to have him on our show. Mr. Alonso Williams, the founder of the world-class Wreckin crew, one of the founders of NWA as well. Are you excited?
Yes, I am. This is what I love, this type of stuff. Like the history and all that. You know what I mean? I love this type of stuff. And Alonso definitely has the history. So I know we're going to get a good bar of it tonight. So people get ready for a classic. I'm letting you know early, this is about to be a classic. Sure.
So I think, without further ado, shall we bring him in?
You think they're ready?
I hope they're ready. True hip hop heads are always ready.
Okay. Well, let's do it. We got him. He's here now. The one and only legendary triple OG Godfather. Not only one of the Godfathers of Compton, West Coast hip hop, LA hip hop. If you came through the hip hop scene or music scene back in the day when it got started, you definitely know Alonso. Here he is, Alonso Williams, y'all, live.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, folks? How y'all doing tonight?
How are you?
I can't complain about nothing. I'm in good health. I'm in good shape. I'm all right.
We truly appreciate your presence here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, you don't need an introduction, but we're going to give you one anyway. You have the title of the Godfather of West Coast hip hop.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that make you feel?
You know, somebody called me that a few years ago, and it stuck with me, and it makes me feel good because somebody recognized the fact that not much came through West Coast hip hop I didn't have my hand in. I'm not a big rapper, I'm not a big producer, but I make things happen, I get things done. And I think at the stage of hip hop where West Coast was at the time, if it wasn't for guys like me and Roger Clayton, other things wouldn't have got done.
Yeah, you're a true pioneer, without a doubt. So, give us a little bit of back history on Alonso Williams as a human, as a person, before we get into your lovely career.
Alonso Williams was a regular dude that just I think he has a touch of ADHD because he's always doing something different, and he's never afraid to be the first one. He's not afraid to try something different, not afraid to be a pioneer, not afraid and loves when people tell him what he can't do. You tell me I can't get it done, that's just fire for me. That's just fuel for fire. What? You tell me I can't do it? Come on. I pretty much got it figured out before I haven't told you about it. So I know the road. I just got to figure out, I just got to put some fuel in the car and make you drive.
Yeah. So you are the creator of the legendary world-class Wreckin crew, which debuted in 1979. Yes?
Wreckin crew debuted about 1973. Eve After Dark came out in 79.
Okay. So this started, if I'm not mistaken, at your club.
Eve After Dark. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell us how you came up with the concept of the world-class Wreckin crew and your amazing club, Eve After Dark, your historic club.
Well, Wreckin crew was kind of out of frustration. Again, I don't mind trying something first. I was one of the first ones to bring Curtis Blow to California, Run DMC. And when Run DMC came to California and played at Eve After Dark, they broke my microphone. And it was a 15-minute show. I paid $500, bought 3 plane tickets, hotels for a 15-minute show. They broke my microphone, and to top that all off, they went and played for my competition the next night. And that just, I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna form my own group and start doing my own thing. And that's what I did.
So you have discovered one of the biggest names in hip hop, Mr. Dr. Dre. So tell us how you discovered Dr. Dre.
But Dre came to Eve After Dark when I was doing shows with Run DMC and Curtis Blow as a customer first. And he later came back, wanted to get in the club and hang out, but he was a little bit on the young side. But because I knew his family, Dre and I grew up in the same neighborhood. To be exact, we grew up on the same street. He was a lot younger than me, but we still had a lot of the same. I knew all of his family. And he dropped his family name. I let him in the club. I told him I would let him in if he would change his clothes. And he did. He came with Easy that night. Easy didn't change his clothes. Dre did. And to piss Easy off, I let Dre in and made Easy stand outside.
Hey, Lonzo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Deandra. I just want to ask this while I'm thinking about it briefly. So Dre was already, like you said, you met him then. He was hanging with Easy then, because a lot of people may think he just, Easy came later or whatever. So he was already kicking cool with Easy then and hanging out with him.
They already had a little production company called High Power Production. They was trying to do dances. See, back in the day, before folks were selling dope, they was giving dances for a living. That was the hustle of the early 70s, early 80s, giving dances. And the Eve After Dark, although it was considered a nightclub, because I was a dance promoter, people called it a weekly party. So, everybody wanted to be like the big dogs. And me and some other folks, we were the big dogs. And everybody with 4 walls and a roof would try and give parties to compete with the big dogs. But they always got bit. So what can I tell you?
No one compares to the great Lonzo, I'm sure.
The big dogs always bite first.
So you guys started off in the disco era.
I did, yeah.
So how does it feel? Talk a little bit about Disco Construction.
Disco Construction was my company name. When I first started DJing, I was a big fan of a group called Brass Construction, a big band out of New York. And I just loved their music, and I loved the name. It sounds so strong, Brass Construction. And when I started thinking of a name for my DJ company, I was like, I'm going to go with Disco Construction, because disco was the big thing at that time. And I named it Disco Construction, and that became my name. And we blew up as a DJ. As I blew up as a DJ, I was Disco Alonso and Disco Construction. And the guys who tore down my equipment, they would call the Wreckin crew. So all that just kind of fit, the construction, the Wreckin crew, and the disco era was a lot of fun for me. I had a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of disco, which basically died back in the 70s or late 80s, early 80s, and got reincarnated as EDM. But disco had a lot more fun to it.
So how much of a role would you say that disco plays in hip hop as a whole?
I think disco gave a lot of opportunities to a lot of up-and-coming artists and a lot of independent labels. So a lot of independent labels jumped on the disco wagon. The disco bandwagon was very popular and gave a lot of small labels opportunity to get heard. Because again, it was a trend that nobody had heard of before, and the majors they jumped on it, but they would always do it through a sub label. I don't recall a lot of Motown disco records. They may have had something, a remix or something, but there was not a lot of specific disco artists. May have been some, I can't recall any. But Diana Ross she played a big role in disco, but again, that was Diana Ross. So by the time the disco blew up, a lot of the smaller labels were just flourishing because of disco, because they gave a lot of small bands opportunity to do something they couldn't do before.
Hey, Alonzo, before we continue, do you got something playing in the background? I hear a little something.
You know what? Take me off. Yeah. Put me in the
okay.
dugout for a minute. I'll be right back.
Got you.
I love this
Okay,
song.
we'll bring it back. Yeah, he has some things going on. I know I was hearing, so I just want to make sure everything is clear, and then someone else let me know too, so we could just hear that we want him clear. That's all. Oh, what up, Lorraine Compton, CPT in the house? Yes, everyone that's joining us. I know people coming in and coming out, but if you're just joining us, we got the legendary Alonso Williams, as you see NWA, which means not without Alonso. Doesn't mean NWA, but it meaning NWA doesn't happen without Alonso because he brought everyone together. This dude right here has like a lot of history, like not only through Compton and stuff, but the whole LA music scene from the 80s, early 80s, even the 70s, like he said, up to now. So any
Wow.
questions anyone once asked, just kind of let us know in the comments, and we'll try to let you know.
Okay,
But
so that's a great
this,
one. That's a
we got
perfect opportunity to ask questions.
yes. Okay, he's back. All right, Lonzo, we good now?
We good.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Deandra.
What I love about part of your story is the fact that you were able to transition, because a lot of times artists fall off once a genre leaves the scene or it's not popular anymore. But in your case, you went from disco to electric funk with ease.
I'm gonna tell you what an old partner of mine told me one day. He said, "When something starts to change, don't panic, pivot." Just like playing football. You see the hole close up, you go the other direction. So don't panic, pivot. That's all. And that's where a lot of people fall short at. They get focused on one thing, and things constantly evolve. And if you try to stay on the same thing all the time, even as a DJ, I've been through multiple formats as a DJ, as a studio owner. I've been through multiple formats as a studio owner. When they first started making studios, you had to have a 24 track and $100,000 just in wire. Sometimes, $100,000 just in cables. It was very expensive. Then the cost started going down. Then they put studios on your laptop now. So you have to be really be prepared any given moment for the change in technology. As a DJ, I started off carrying 25, 30 crates like everybody else did, a truck full of equipment. Now when I go do a party, I got my laptop and my controller and 2 speakers. It's a whole different game. But some people get stuck. Oh man, I ain't gonna. I'm strictly for vinyl. Okay, cool. You look up and you get my age and your back start hurting. You'll appreciate them damn jump drives for the music.
Right.
So let's talk about your DJ career for a minute. So you started off going to broadcasting school.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people now, from what I know, they don't do that anymore. Because I know when I was a kid, my mom, or before I was born, my mom went to broadcasting school too. And even though you go to broadcasting school, it's hard to get into a station because that was her goal.
Go ahead.
Do you think that broadcasting school is still a necessity in today's day and age when it comes to radio and DJing as a whole?
Not really. No. I think what you're doing right now is the perfect introduction to broadcast school. It's the same thing. To get a broadcast license, you just have to learn the rules of the FCC. And there's not a lot of celestial radio stations right now that you can even apply for. And the ones that are still around, oh my God, it's difficult. Podcasting has replaced radio in so many different ways. You're basically in broadcast school right now.
And the ones that are on radio, they're pretty much locked in. Who's probably there?
And you got so much syndication right now. It's difficult to get in. You might get in as an intern, working the board or something like that, but getting on the air at this point in time, it's going to be slim and none because they take the big boys. You got guys like Steve Harvey and Big Boy and certain jocks. They may be on 50, 60 stations around the country. So that cuts a lot of jobs out.
It's cutting local. I think, like you said, that part about radio being syndicated, that's pretty much cut out even locally. Local radios, not the big markets, but say you're a little small because now they're syndicated there and they're bigger than your local station, the syndicated DJ who's in New York or somewhere, right?
Right. So you got guys that's all in California and they got him on a delay. He's back east, the whole 9 yards. So you got one or two crews that may lock in 40, 50, 100 stations a day. Okay, so that's 100 jobs is gone. You might be on at midnight when nobody's watching. Nobody wants to spend the money for the feed, but for the most part, you're better off right here, as far as I can see right now. I mean, again, if you want to learn the FCC rules, which basically don't cuss and don't be drinking on the job, and a lot of the equipment that we learned on is all obsolete. So I don't even know where the FCC is right now. As far as that, you probably can take it online. To be honest with you,
That's crazy. What do you see that what do you think? Sorry, Deandra. What do you think the future of radio is like as a whole as we speak? Because like you say, it's so changed so much now. It's really different, but it seems almost like sometimes you think radio will be obsolete, but it seems we will always need radio just like TV for certain things. Like it may not be the music, but the news and the like certain things it seems like we'll always need. But what do you think about the future of radio as a whole in the future?
I think radio will always have a place in society because even radio stations, most of them broadcast around the world through podcasting.
Right.
And if you have a popular radio station, just the other day, I called my local radio station, KGLH, and I wanted to buy some advertising, not on their local station. I wanted to buy it on their podcast because their podcast, people travel around the world. And when you travel around the world, whether you're in the military or just traveling, you want to hear some remnants of being back home. So if you can go to your phone and download the KGLH app and listen to the same thing, but because it's such a inexpensive frequency, the commercials are a lot cheaper. Plus, I'm trying to get to a global audience anyway. So if you in China or wherever they play overseas, and you hear my commercial for my documentary in another country, that opens up a new market for me. So yeah, that works out very well. But because KGLH don't pass the 605. You go past the 605 in LA, you turn KGLH turn into a Spanish station.
Right. That's a fact. But one more thing. What do you think about say like KG? Like I said, the radio as a whole, but certain stations, like you said, KGLH has such a staying power that's been around forever. And still a certain staple. Like we have KGLH now, like we look at as a home station, but you had other stations like KAC, KH, right, and a few more that are not here. You know what I mean? Come and gone. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, those were bomb stations in their time. Man, KH was the bomb. KJ, Cute 102. I could name you a few stations that were really, really popular back in the day. We loved it. We hate to see them go because I think KH is like one of the first R&B stations that was FM.
Yes.
And that was just a major thing. KD had a AM stereo, but nobody had an AM stereo radio, so it wasn't damn good. But when you look back and see the stations that are the format, it was the music, man. And that's the part that most people forget. There used to be a man that was his job every week to program the radio station. Every Tuesday, every Monday, people came into the radio station and brought the record, the program director, new music. His job was to go through it and to see what he was going to add on the radio station. I remember when I first started making my own records, I would go to the radio stations myself because I couldn't afford a promo man, and drop off records and call back. Hey man, am I going to play? What's that? What you going to do for me? I'm going to put you in the mix, see what happens. Everybody did that except for KD. KD put us right on the radio, and that was their format, so it worked out for us.
How did you even how did you know, like, I know you've been around forever, Alonso, but how did you even know? Some people don't even know, I mean, as far as getting your promotion and all that, but to go straight to the station, some don't even know where the radio station is, but you go in there and know how to present it and do all that type of stuff early on.
Well, you know what? A couple of different ways, man. When you start advertising a business, and I learned this from radio as well, when they start hanging out we used to hang out posters around the city. That was our initial form of advertising. Right. And they would call on you. Hey, man, you ever thought about advertising on the radio? No, not really. I always thought it was too expensive. Well, come on by. Let me buy you lunch and tell me show you what it cost you. And once you bought it to one station, especially if they had a format that you worked with, you just buy another one. And plus, for me, I was a little bit different because my last job, I worked for a record distributor. So I would always service radio stations as well. I would send radio stations, local ones, new records as well. So I was kind of born for this. My whole career has been woven into this music thing from 1979 to the day.
Wow. Wow. Go ahead, Deandra, because I'll get to going on here with Alonso. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of names, and I want you to tell me what comes through your mind when you realize that this is all you. NWA, DJ Battlecat, Ronnie O and Joe Cooley, Compton's Most Wanted, DJ Ella. What does that do for your ego, sir? How does that make you feel to know that you are responsible for bringing out some of the biggest names in hip hop?
Well, you know what? You want the real story? You want me to give you some bullshit? I give you some bullshit.
We keep it real around here, okay?
You want the real one? You
we don't want to BS up in this show, okay?
You know what? If everybody that you mentioned, most of them don't know how much of a role I played in their careers. I met when I met Battlecat, he was 17. I'd already had Battlecat didn't come to Eve After Dark. He didn't come to do those. He never did mobile parties with me. Rodney O and Joe Cooley, the distribution company that they were on, which was called Westcoast Record Distributors, was one of Alonso's idea businesses that was formed by myself, Unknown DJ, Egyptian Lover, and Rudy from the LA Dream Team. And we created that whole situation because our distributor, Makola, had folded up. And Rodney O don't know nothing about. They don't know about Makola. They don't know about what we had to deal with at Makola. Egypt does, Rudy does, Unknown does, and when Makola folded, we took over his role as the distributors. But we just couldn't get along long enough to. We got along enough to make about $1.5 million, and everybody give everybody the finger. Okay, long story. Ain't enough time on the show. NWA again, very successful. Very proud of them. I would have never bet on them being who they became if you know the personalities. You know the people. What? Again, that's my own personal thing. I know them when they were kids. I didn't just meet them when they got successful. Okay, I knew them as kids. So it's a different thing for me. It's like if you got kids, if either one of y'all have kids, and one of your kids that you know is a nice kid, tell you, Mom, I'm gonna grow up to be a gangster rapper. You gonna whoop his ass and send him back in his room. Okay. It's gonna be hard for you to believe. But again, and this is the part people forget about me. I'm from a different generation. I'm not a Generation X person. I'm a millennial. I mean baby boomer. Mm-hmm. I come from a whole different generation. So things that they were trying to do, my operating system did not regulate, did not understand. I never stopped them because I've never been a hater or a gatekeeper, but I didn't understand what they were trying to do. In fact, and sometimes if you look at it, they kind of stumbled on that whole situation. They were doing reality raps and later became gangsters. And that's something people forget about.
Hey, Lonzo, let me ask you this. Do you ever think sometimes like you, I know that it was, like you said, definitely a gap with you guys because they were younger. You on totally different things from grown man shit, right? When they were kids to you. But and I know a lot of people, even in the movie, try to paint you, like you just said, as the hater and all that, but it's really just a difference in opinion, style, all that, right? But do you ever think sometimes that you did later on when you see the success that everyone had, do you think that you kind of slipped up, not trying to grab everyone and maybe get your label back off the ground, whatever you want to do to make sure all of those people, because you literally could have had all these people. You know what I mean? You could have been the Ruthless or the Death Row all before all that, right?
Yeah, I probably could have, Doc, but from my perspective, again, I come from a different generation. By the time NWA had blew up, I was a grown man with a house, a nightclub. I've been wearing suits and hard sole shoes all my life.
Right.
I got cars. I got kids. I got a kid. I can't go. Reason why I've been so successful all my life is because I never claimed the gang thing. I never played that. I never dealt with that. And that's
Right.
what made me successful as a DJ and a club owner. Because folks know, hey man, that's Alonso. He used to do the parties over at so and so. Oh, he cool. He ain't tripping. Okay? He got a club, it's in the blood territory, but the homeboy, I know the owner, he cool. So people felt comfortable rolling with me because they know I didn't play one side against the other. I never played sides. So for me to flip up at 28 years old, think about this now. I opened the Eve at 22. By the time Dre them was forming NWA, I was 29. Okay, so they 19. They Cube. If I'm 29, Cube is 17. Dre is 21. So I'm gonna be a 29-year-old gangbanger followed behind some teenagers. That wouldn't even look right.
Right.
That wouldn't even.
Right.
And
But at the same time, Alonso, but at the same time, you were the mentor though. So you didn't have, they just would have looked up to you, and you could have just.
Wait. You're right. You're right to a certain degree. But again, you forget gangbanging had not been approved yet. It wasn't that era yet. They caught hell in the beginning.
Right.
They caught hell in the beginning. They were not accepted until maybe 92, 94 during the riot. That's when they became more popular, because up until then, they was being hated on by the president's wife. They was being hated on by C. Dolores Tucker. They was being hated on by the FBI. I didn't need that in my life at that time. I was cool. I wish them all the luck in the world, but certain things, I don't live a certain lifestyle because I don't like looking over my shoulder.
Right.
When I walk through Compton, it's all cheers, and I get dapped, whatever the case may be. Ain't nobody looking for Alonso like that.
I get that though. Now that you say that, because like you say, all these years later, all the shit that happened, you clean. You say you could still be in Compton the way you were.
I can still walk around. I can still go out, whether it's a gangbanging, the police. I take pictures. I take just as many pictures with police as I do gangbangers and politicians. Because at this stage of my life, I created something that they related to when they was teenagers. So to be able, I'm not sure. I'm not looking at 25 to life, man. All money ain't good money, okay? All money ain't good money, and you see what happen. You see a lot of things happen if you know the personal stories. A lot of these guys have some of them have second thoughts about what they did. Some of them have second thoughts. I think probably the most unscathed person so far has been Ice Cube. Mm-hmm. He's one of the few people that has been through this situation and totally moved and migrated, but he had a rough time for a minute.
Yeah, he
was having some serious haterade for a while, and after he got to a certain point that you can't touch him, so everybody backed up off of him. But it's a lot of things that I thank God for that money came by, and that's the part. Everybody don't understand that, man. The peace of mind to be able to walk through any place and not have to worry about looking over your shoulder means more than going to the bank I got money in the bank, but it just means more than a lot to a lot of people. I got different operating systems. That's all.
Right.
My value system is a little bit different, Doc.
Hey, Lonzo, let me ask you this. Going back to the world class Wreckin days, right? When you guys came on the scene, and obviously you guys were local stars, definitely in Compton, but then LA, all around. But to get that national recognition and worldwide recognition when you broke out the box with Turn Off the Lights, which was everywhere, right? When you get a taste of that real, I mean, you already was a local star doing you Lonzo, right? But when you get a taste of that worldwide attention and hit on the radio and all of that, and then kind of have it go away right after that because the group broke up and all that, whatever. By getting that taste of that, did you really, like, what I'm trying to say at the end of the day, do you appreciate more your life now, what you had later on, or like you just said, you're kind of clean right now, opposed to maybe thinking about what could have been, after that national success and you could have did more and blew up? How do you feel about that?
Dude, I dude, I never depended on hip hop to be my career. I'm a businessman. I own nightclubs. I own 6 nightclubs. I own a newspaper right now. I got a television channel. I'm a businessman. So to have that in my history, it's nothing but a plus. Okay,
Right.
but it was never my hardcore. I got to make another record. And again, remember, right after turning off the lights, the whole hip hop, the whole music changed completely.
Right.
Music changed completely. It went from being house party to boys in the hood.
Right. Right.
I grew up in the house party generation where folks could go to a house party and dance, and we could dance in the suit, hard sole shoes, Gumby haircut, Jerry curl, whatever the case may be, have a good time, and walk your girl to the pad. Boys in the hood, niggas couldn't go nowhere. I ain't never like that. I ain't no man. I saw the whole thing in my nightclub at Eve After Dark, but I had the Eve for 6 years from 79 to 79 to 85. But I left, went on tour for a while, did my record crew thing, came back in 94, and everything was different, man. It wasn't the same. It was the teenagers were no longer the same way. I used to come to the club in the beginning. I could wear a suit, and I didn't have to wear a suit, but I just like being a clean son of a gun. I was the boss. And I'd go buy a suit every week if I wanted to. And when I came back in 79, in the 92, man, it was crazy, man. I had to start wearing jeans and tennis shoes and wearing sweatshirts because it wasn't even about partying. It was about keeping people from fighting. And here's the part I'm gonna say something to y'all that separates me from everybody else. From 1979 till I got Doodles, I left Doodles in 87 on Skateland. People was bringing me their kids and trusting their kids in my hands from 9 to 2, whatever the time may be. So if you a mom, you a dad, and you take your kids someplace to have a good time, you expect your kid to come out unharmed. You damn sure ain't expecting them to die. Okay?
Right.
And being that I had a kid at 18 years old, I was a young parent. So I understood responsibility. So when you understand responsibility as a parent, you understand not only as a parent for your kid, you become a parent to other folks' kids. Okay?
Right.
And that was my position. So when guys like Cube came to me, he was 15 years old. It was certain things I wouldn't let Cube do at my house because I had to answer to his mama, man. Parents would pick up their kids at Doodles and Skateland just like you did at school. They'd be lined up, kids hopping in the car. So I had to make sure they were safe. So when kids came to my house, whether it was Ice Cube or somebody else, I couldn't let anything happen in my house. I've never had a shooting. I've never had a fight in my house. I had Crips and Bloods at the same time at my house, but I had to establish myself as, hey, this is my place. I don't care what color you're here for. We are here for green. Anything else, got to walk. And they all respected that. So the respect I received over the years from everybody, from being a club owner to being a studio owner, because I work, like I said, my studio's in my house. I'm home right now.
Right.
The same house you saw straight out of Compton that Easy and Dre them did the demos, I'm still there, Doc. So I couldn't play certain games. People know where I live at, okay?
Right.
I've been there for almost 40 years, man. So that's why, even in my business, I had to make sure I did my business on the up and up because they know where to find me. I'm not hiding in the hills someplace.
Right.
I'm going to the grocery store on 120th. I'm going to be at the swap meet. I'm going to be at the grocery store. I'm going to be in the mall. So I'm too accessible. And I would not put myself in that position to get ran up on because Cass was running up on people back in the day behind some misunderstanding or a misunderstanding behind some business. And that's just been my get out.
Solid.
Do you believe, although you're against the representation of what NWA was in a sense, do you feel like it really molded what West Coast hip hop is? Because that's what it's known for. is for the gangster rap. It's not known for anything else. So do you think that there's a positive to the representation that they place in the hip hop world based off of that alone for history purposes?
Well, when you go back to the very beginning of NWA, their first few songs, one was called "Something to Dance To."
That was my
Okay,
shit.
then they had another called "Panic Zone." Either one of these songs could have been a Wrecking Crew song because they understood certain things would be accepted on the radio. Their first video was "Express Yourself." Charles Wright and the Watts 103rd Street remake. So it wasn't so much gangster; it was more, like they said, reality. When Ice Cube, when they did No Vass, I mean not No Vass, I'm sorry, they did After Police. That's when they kind of got more on the gangster tip. I mean, that was the first thing that really got them notarized, recognized by the FBI and local police. Now they had other album cuts, of course, but that's the one that kind of put them on the map when, especially when the FBI sent them that letter, and they started getting all the feedback from the president's wife. And they had a lot of things in that time zone that made them stand out. Easy goes to the White House, have dinner with George Bush Sr. I mean, Easy. I just did it on my show just a few minutes ago. Easy was standing. He stood beside. He supported one of the cops that beat Rodney King. He understood how to get attention, and that's something that you can't teach. He was doing this before you had the internet to go viral with. So he understood the game. He played the game very well, and he won at it. And what can you say?
Hey, Lonzo, let me go back briefly because someone asked earlier in the comments too, but I didn't want to overlook this before we got so
Go
far
ahead.
ahead. But going back to you starting off again, the connections and the people you knew. A lot of people don't know what they do, if some don't, that you knew Jerry Heller prior to him hooking up with NWA. Well, you actually introduced them. All that. Tell us a little bit about that history with Jerry Heller and what he did prior to NWA and what he did, period, to help a lot of people too, because he gets a bad rap too. Rest in peace, Jerry Heller. If you could.
Jerry Heller was a agent and a manager for a lot of big artists before he got to NWA. According to him, he had a bad luck. He had a bad divorce, and he started from scratch. And he was starting to McCullough, Don McMillan, that was our distributor on Santa Monica Boulevard. He had put together a distribution system, and as acts would come through there, Jerry would talk to him and talk about possibly managing some of them. One of the first acts he managed was Egyptian Lover. Later, his partner started managing the LA Dream Team. They always wanted to manage me, but I already had a manager. I had a guy named Swamp Dog who was my manager. And shortly after that, Wreckin Crew got a deal with Sony. And at that same time, my current manager did not want us to go to Sony. So he kind of dropped off. Hey man, I can't do the major thing. I didn't have a manager. Jerry was trying to court me to be my manager. But my attorney at that time said, what you need a manager for? You already got a record deal. All you got to do is get you a cell phone, and I'll tell you what the business affairs department said. I'll advise you on what to do. Again, I'm an artist, but I'm more of a businessman. So I understood the language between myself and the lawyer. I went to college. I didn't graduate, but I went to college. I studied law. So when the lawyer would tell me certain things, I understood what he was saying. So Jerry Heller was around, but I did not sign with him as a manager till after the CBS deal. And I've always felt that's kind of why he didn't kind of wanted me away from the guys at a certain point, because I had their ear. I was their go-to guy. I was Easy's go-to guy. Of course, Yella and Dre's go-to guy. But with me around, there was always going to be somebody that can refute different things that didn't make sense. Okay? But when we got to CBS and we had a problem, Jerry helped us get the problem. Even though he wasn't our manager, he helped us get it fixed. And they took out some money for the union, from union dues, and he found us about $6,000. And from that point on, he became the go-to guy for Dre and Yella. They loved him to death because they found him some money, and because Dre and Yella was speaking about him so highly, Easy wanted to meet him, and I hooked up the meeting. And according to Jerry's book, Easy paid me what, $900, $1,000. That wasn't the case. Easy already owed me money, and he gave me a little bump to get me to expedite Jerry's meeting. That was pretty much it.
Right. What was your take, you personally? Well, you already knew him personally, but over the years, especially when you heard all this stuff about Jerry, what's your take personally? And just, I mean, I don't mean just personally on Jerry, how he handled the group and all that. And do you think a lot of that was warranted or not, or what, or why was Jerry the scapegoat to any degree when it was still Easy's company? Or I mean, I don't know, because like you saying at first, seemed like everyone loved him.
Well, understand this. When they first started talking about forming Ruthless Records, it was going to be a group. Everybody was supposed to be a part of it. Dre was supposed to be a part. Arabian Prince, Yella, and Easy was going to pay for everything.
Right.
And at some point in time, it went from being a company to a one-man corporation with Easy being in charge. And that wasn't even bad as long as everybody was getting some kind of money. But when Dre realized that $100,000 for 5 albums wasn't no money, he started feeling some kind of way. When Cube realized that, hey man, we've been on. Arabian Prince was the first one to leave. We've been on tour. When they've been on tour, ain't nobody got no money yet. Okay, then Arabian Prince left before Cube did. Same problem. Let me see my contract. Well, if you take it to a lawyer, I can't. Whatever the case may be. Come on, man. I mean, I'm not saying he was a bad guy. I'm just saying.
Why you think, especially when they come in there together, especially, I can see how they were looking at Easy now. If Easy's starting to be tight with Jerry, and then, like you say, nobody getting money. But why do you think even Easy, like, don't you think they were getting money, and like Easy at least should have knew better? Like Jerry couldn't have just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Understand this. Understand the music game. And Jerry comes from the rock and roll R&B era. Every group, from the Jackson 5 to the Commodores to Beyonce and Destiny's Child, the lead singer always goes solo. Okay?
Right.
The lead singer always goes solo. But in hip hop, it ain't like that. The producer could be the backbone of that situation. Up until then, producers were not hip hop producers were not being revered as being the focal point of a label. You had guys doing all kinds of stuff. You had Prince doing stuff. He was doing stuff everywhere. So now you got Dre coming up. Ice Cube writing the lyrics. Easy didn't write that much. He wrote a little bit, but not a whole lot. He said Ice Cube writes the rhymes that I say. Dre makes the beats. So all these ingredients start to leave one by one.
Right.
And I don't think Easy planned for that, but maybe Jerry told him he didn't feel he needed him because he was the focal point. And he was the leader.
He was, but after Dre and Cube left, you could tell the change dramatically in the sound.
It wasn't the same no more.
Definitely, you could tell that. You know,
NWA was no longer, but you had Bone Thugs and Harmony, so there was still success, but the vibe had changed tremendously. Dre went on to be successful. Cube went on to be successful. So that goes to show you that there was a chemistry there. That chemistry was upset by the changes, and some things you can't replace.
Cannot replace that. I'm sure everyone learned that. Suge learned it too later too. You got someone like Dre. I just don't think they knew, both of them, what they had. You know what I mean? But Dre is the key to this all, just like you're the key to it. Hold up, let me ask a question. Someone asked, "Did you know?" Yes, she did. But they're asking. Shout out to Big D. Does Alonso know Suge and DOC?
I know. I've met Suge. We've had a couple of conversations. Nothing major. I do know DOC very well. DOC asked me to be in this documentary a couple of years ago. and he's in my documentary. So yes, I do know DOC. Again, let me say that we talking about who I know and why people don't know my connection to DOC. Okay, DOC was in a group called Feel the Fresh Crew out of Texas. When I had the Eve After Dark, one of my main DJs was a guy named Dr. Rock. He left and moved to Texas. When Wreckin Crew go to Texas to start performing, Dr. Rock is there. He's on the Tom Joyner morning show, blow it up, driving Rolls Royces the whole 9 yards. He got a group called the Feel the Fresh Crew. DOC is a part of the Feel the Fresh Crew. So when Dr. Rock wanted to do his albums, he came to my studio, and this is how. Well, he met Dre in Texas, but when he came to California, next thing I know, DOC was a part of the roofing camp. So it's always some kind of 6 degrees of separation between me and somebody.
Right.
So, do you? Let's go back a little bit. Do you regret not having Dre Heller as your manager, or do you think you made a good choice ultimately?
You know what? As I look, it's real hard to say what I regret, because let me say something to y'all. I'm 66 years old. I'll be 67 next month. I went to the doctor this morning, got my checkup. I'm in fucking great health. Okay. I went to the bank this morning. I'm in great health. Okay. I don't have no regrets. I know it sounds crazy to a lot. Oh, he bought it, but a lot of folks didn't make that kind of money. A bunch of people that came up in that era, there's only a handful of them that really achieved some major success. A lot of them didn't do that. A lot of them, what East Coast and West Coast are not able to sit here at 60 some odd years old and be scandal free. Okay? Hey, y'all never heard nothing about me doing shit. I'm waiting. Okay? Maybe I go viral then, okay? But as it stands right now, I do what I do, but I ain't went viral yet. Okay? Nobody shooting in my house. I ain't worried about all that right there. So I don't have no regrets. I did what I did. That was my role. I accepted that. I accepted my role in hip hop. I would prefer that. Well, I can't even say that because they don't know the story to even tell the story. The only one talks about me and my role in hip hop is Ice Cube. Ice Cube has done his research. He knows a little bit. But again, when I was doing I'm 12 years older than Ice Cube is, right? I'm 12 years older than Ice Cube. When I was doing my DJing at 19 years old, Ice Cube was in the 2nd grade.
Right.
Yeah.
When I opened the Eve After Dark, he was in the 5th grade.
Yeah. So
why would he know anything about a 22-year-old man? Right. And they blew up so fast, we never talked about it. Right. Nobody was there in the beginning. This is where West Coast and East Coast kind of differs. In the East Coast, a lot of you guys are all the same age. Africa Bambaataa, Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, they're all the same age. Ain't but 2 or 3 cats in the West Coast my age, period.
Yeah.
Ice-T, me and Ice-T, an unknown DJ. He don't do the interviews.
I forget how old Ice-T is. He doesn't look his age.
Ice-T's the same age I am. Ice-T's 6 months younger than me.
Do you feel that you get the proper credit you deserve as a pioneer and helping these men with their careers?
No, I don't. I just had a big conversation with a young lady 2 weeks ago. Well, a couple of months ago now, at the hip hop to the infinity display, and they gave us. It was nice. It was a beautiful situation, beautiful display. Technologically, it was beautiful. But when it came to West Coast representation, I had something down there, but it was a coat, and that was it. It's like I'm bigger than that, and I've had this conversation before, even with the Universal Hip Hop Museum. I'm not donating nothing to get stuck in a corner someplace. My role was bigger than that. You don't because you don't know. It's my job to tell you. That's why I do all these podcasts because most of the folks want to edit hip hop, West Coast hip hop, to start with NWA, and that's bullshit.
Right.
Hey,
I
hey,
will.
oh, sorry,
And
Deandra.
in the defense of the coat, I'm a fashion person, so when I seen that, my eyes lit up like it was no one's business because I know the history, the fashion history behind that.
Okay.
So that was one of my favorite displays. I'll be honest.
Thank you. Thank you.
So like when I knew that I was gonna have the opportunity to interview you, like the first thing that popped into my head was the jacket. So please, I would like for you to truly understand that your fashion sense in West Coast hip hop is a pillar.
I'll
So
take
please,
that.
I
I'll
want you
take
to
that, baby.
understand
You got
that.
it. You got it. I appreciate that. But again, we were doing something totally different. I mean, when you think about Wreckin' Crew, we didn't have nobody to feed off of, to bite off of.
Right.
Today, everybody got dreads, everybody got tattoos, everybody got tight ass pants. Everybody got chains, everybody got whatever, gold teeth, whatever the case may be. All we had was Grandmaster Flash and Soul Sonic Force. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, they was look at their 80s outfits. They was wearing moccasins and feathers and shit like I wouldn't wear no feathers. Okay? Look at Soul Sonic Force. They was wearing space suits. Okay? I wasn't wearing that. We started performing. We're the opening act for Midnight Star. Ain't no hip hop on the show but us.
Yeah.
We're opening for More Standard Time. We're opening for Surface. We're opening for Mary Jane Girls. We only people doing that's not singing is us. We couldn't go on stage grabbing our nuts, talking about this, whatever the case may be. We had to come like the people of our time.
Right.
So
how did you come up with the concept, your fashion concept?
That was pretty much it, babe. When you looked at if you go back and grab some album covers, everybody had a Jerry curl, everybody had on a shiny suit. That's how everybody had, only people did not have on a shiny suit back then was Morris Day. They went to the thrift store and bought their clothes. Okay? But what we did, we borrowed some of Prince's fashion sense, but we on stage we moved like Morris Day in the time. That's why we ate folks alive back in the day because we rehearsed and being because I'm from the I'm a theater. I got a theater background. When I was in college, I did theater. You don't get good on stage unless you rehearse it, and I made them rehearse. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. We rehearsed.
So who was doing so? Would you say you were a choreographer too? Like who was coming up with the stuff? Your choreography, was that you?
I ain't gonna say I was the choreographer, but because we didn't have no hard steps. We we would throw something together and we just make sure it was locked in tight. That was the main thing. Whatever we did, it had to be tight.
Right.
So I want to talk to you about your role in today's music industry. Right now, you have a channel, Compton Entertainment channel. I see you focus a lot still on the community. Can you talk to us a little bit about that app?
That app is something I created. I'm being from Compton. I used to be on public access. I started doing public access in Compton in 1992, right after the Rodney King beating and the uprising, I should say. They threw me on the station just to do something, and I did that show for 15 years live every Thursday, an hour and a half, whether a guest showed up or not. Okay, and it made me very popular in Compton. And the show, because it was on a cable station, it would leak sometime into Texas, Arizona, so people started knowing me. By 2008, right around the time Obama became the president, that's when a lot of the stations killed off public access, and we got an introduction to live streaming, but it wasn't enough bandwidth yet. Wasn't enough bandwidth to make it really happen. and later on YouTube and some other programs came along, and I still like to do shows. So I built a studio, my music studio, where I'm sitting at right now. It's now my video studio. And because during the pandemic, I was on every Tuesday doing my show. And then YouTube and Facebook changed their rules. You couldn't play music no more. So, and I had a real popular show, a real popular music show on Facebook and YouTube. And then one day they said, hey, as of right now, as of this date, you will no longer play music. And I just felt that music needs to be controlled, needs to be broken by folks other than just YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, don't even think about it. YouTube, either you're going to do an interview or you're going to play music, but you won't do both. I come from the Don Cornelius school of record breaking, that Soul Train. So I'm thinking that was a great opportunity to have a person come on and play on the, perform and then do an interview afterwards. So a lot of times people may like your music, but they like your personality even more. That's why I want to rock with you. So I'm gonna buy your records. And back in the day, because when you buy a person's records, you have what they call liner notes. You can read about this person's history. There's a bio be right there. So and so is from this. He a Gemini, or he liked purple, or whatever she liked doing. So you had a chance to get all this information that you can't get no more. You got to get it from somebody's website, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Let us talk about this amazing documentary that you have out.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know what? The documentary was something that we was already working on. Again, as I meet different people and they investigate my history, they realize I got a story to tell and it hasn't been told yet. My story is just as big as Power, or just as it's Power. It's Power. What's the one with Taraji P. Henson and
damn.
Help me out.
Empire.
It's Power, Empire, and all that wrapped up into one, because everything was running simultaneously at that time. But we started doing a documentary in like 2000. I started doing one documentary in 2020, I think it was 21, and then when Dre and Snoop them did the thing in the Super Bowl in 22 for the halftime show, my partner was like, "Man, that's a story right there." Mm-hmm. So we started working on a documentary immediately, and we finished it in like we finished it in like 4 or 5 months, just in time to hit the film festivals. And he did such a great job in producing it; it just blew up in the film festivals. But meanwhile, I started another documentary in 2018 that then got shut down because of COVID. And so once we finished the Eve documentary and it started doing so well, my guy said, "Hey man, let's finish up this other one." And now we got a second one coming out called NWA. Now without Alonso. And it ties all my relationships together, from Tupac to Dre to everything, the early days of West Coast hip hop, how things got formulated. And that's what's I think when they both come together, it'll be much clearer for a lot of people to see my true contribution to West Coast hip hop.
Where would you be happy at when it comes to the acknowledgement that you get for being one of the biggest pioneers in hip hop? What would you like to see? Would you like to see more acknowledgement from the guys themselves? Maybe a star on the Walk of Fame somewhere?
Nah, I mean, that'd be cool, but I'd rather give me a mini series like you did New Edition. Give me a six series, or give me actually, truthfully, somebody got some money watching this podcast. Bring me a few million. I'm gonna tell you my story. We're gonna start from the very beginning. We're gonna do the B Street part. We're gonna do the what's that show with the boy that sold the cocaine? Damn, come on.
Dame, what was it with John Singleton?
Yeah, Snowfall.
Snowfall.
Snowfall. See, this the part that folks, just because I never sold dope, don't mean I wasn't around it. Okay? So you got Power, you got Snowfall, and you got Empire all wrapped up into one story, and it all ends up with the biggest names in hip hop, but it all starts with me. That's a mini series. We can do that. We can do that 4 or 5 seasons. Easy. We can start off with back in the day doing the dances, go to Eve After Dark, go to Doodles, and just show how the streets, everybody was dancing and having a good time. See, I grew up in the locking era. When I grew up in the 70s, we was doing all that shit right there, okay? Yeah. So all this is the evolution of hip hop.
People Alonso?
Huh?
You got to volunteer to film it for you.
Shout out to homie Carlos. Carlos Garcia said he'll film it. He's been in the chat showing a lot of love to you.
Shout out to Carlos. Much love, Carlos. Let's hook up. So yeah, there is. I mean, the whole West Coast story. I'm there in the very beginning with Don Campbell and the Lockers. I'm in high school watching these cats. When Soul Train first came to California, I watched Soul Train every Sunday. Don Cornelius was my hero. Eve After Dark was Soul Train with no cameras.
Hey, hold
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to ask you this, speaking again before I forget about Eve After Dark and Doodles. Which one, over the years, you had them both and you're still doing clubs, I know to this day. What was your favorite out of those two that was so popular back in the day? Eve After Dark or Doodles? Did you love the most?
It was a different kind of love. It's a different kind of love because Eve After Dark is like my firstborn, okay?
Right.
And the beauty about Eve, I had an office at Eve. Once I brought my speakers upstairs, I never had to leave them. I never had to take them down again. I installed light systems at Eve. Eve became a real club, okay? Only thing about Eve, we outgrew it. And the owner the owner of the building, we was interfering with his other money downstairs. Doodles was totally different because for the first time, I could bring in big acts like New Edition, LL Cool J, and get my money. Eve only hold 300 people. Doodles held 1,500.
Right.
And it had an upstairs room for a private room for upstairs, or whatever the case may be. And it gave me much more flexibility. Only drawback at that time, it was in Compton. Well, we overcame that. I was the first person ever to start claiming Compton as their home. I can tell. I'm gonna tell you something, and they probably would deny it, but this is honest to God truth. When we first started claiming Compton, nobody wanted to be from Compton. Nobody give a damn what they say. Only person who was pumping Compton was Alonso. Nobody wanted to be. It wouldn't be from Carson or Gardena, anywhere but Compton. And I said, no, that was my first executive decision. We've been rocking Compton for the longest. Went to Compton schools all my life, paid my phone bill in Compton. I'm very popular in Compton, and that's my home. The Bronx, wherever else, New York, a lot of them places is ghettos too. If I'm from the ghetto, damn it, that's what I'm claiming. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been a big liar. I hate remember lies, so I don't tell them.
Right. Hey, Lonzo, speaking on Compton, let me get this out because again, she just asked you about getting your credit and your just due. Obviously, like you said, it's not there. We need way more of it. And kind of a two-part, because I want to ask you this, speaking on New York, do you think that's because like you said, you don't get the credit. Do you kind of think that's a West Coast thing? Because like you said, in New York, I don't give a damn. They represent all the founders and OGs, the Red Alerts, and all these people. But like you said, that all these people know they came through you, from the Dre's, whoever. And they say a little something, but I definitely think, like you said, it should be some more recognition where even it's like really like a production, like even Dr. Dre getting together with you and, like you said, making this shit, making the story and doing some big production, a lot of those things. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about that? And then also my second part was, how do you feel about Compton? Again, like you said, you're the first one to really put it on the map and claim it, and to see the history now of Compton. Like even when you speak of West Coast LA, 90% of the music, or at least the most successful people, have come from Compton. even to this day, where we got the most trending rapper, Kendrick Lamar, I'm sure you're hearing what he's doing with Drake. He's from Compton, and he's the biggest thing in the game. So how do you feel about overall Compton, the history, and everything Compton has done? When you speak about music, all of LA and West Coast, but it's 90% of it's coming from Compton.
Man, Compton is a unique city within itself, Doc. Compton is, I've been in Compton all afternoon, and I've been a part of Compton all my life. Compton is very unique. They call it the hub city for a reason. It's surrounded by everything: Paramount, Carson, Gardena, LA, a little bit of Watts, Linwood, and I don't know whether it was the water or Compton. What I found out today, because Compton's like 136 years of being in existence. Compton was like the 8th city founded in LA County back in the 1800s. So it started off being an all-white city, and it evolved, and it's changed. Populations, it's still changing right now. I don't know whether I don't know, man. Compton is one of them cities, man, that just is kind of hard to understand. We got 3 high schools in there, which most cities, like Gardena, only got 1.
Right.
And I think Linwood only has 1 high school, but Gardena got Compton has 3. We got
Compton
a ton of parks.
Compton is smaller than Gardena, and I don't know about Linwood, but definitely I'm sure smaller than Gardena.
Compton is 10 square miles. That's it.
Right.
100,000 people. I think between me, you, and my microphone, I think Compton was a part of an experiment where when black folks was coming to town and making things happen, they made sure it didn't happen in Compton. I've heard that's been a conspiracy theory for quite some time, because Compton has had a lot of black leadership. For some reason, I noticed when the drugs came first, it kind of hit Compton first. That's always been confusing to me.
Right.
We had gang banging, we had gangsters, but gangsters were different back then, man. I couldn't even. Here's something else. Going back to the NWA thing. When I grew up in Compton, I went to elementary school, junior high school, and high school in Compton. I couldn't even be in the gang. I was a square. They knew I was a square. They wouldn't even let me I was cool with them. But gangbangers back then, if they knew you had something going a little different, they wouldn't let you be a part of that, man.
Right.
They wouldn't let you be a part. They would run you out. Hey, man, get out of here, dude. This ain't for you. This ain't what you do. Get out of here. Okay? I always had a car. Now, from the time I was 15 years old, I had access to a vehicle. And I would drive to dances and shit like that with no driver's license at 15 years old. And I'd have all the gangsters in the ride with me. But they knew if they was going to do something, hey, man, drop us off over here. I dropped them off a couple times. Now get out of here right now. Before anything happened, they run my ass off. So I learned to respect them. They learned to respect me. That's why I never did what they did. And then gangsters, I didn't shoot people. They didn't give dances. That's real talk. I mean, that's the era I come from. So I can't violate that. Okay. Yes.
Wow.
Compton started off with Gibsonville, then it went to Comptonville for a minute. I'm talking about what I learned today. Okay. It was Gibsonville, then it went to Comptonville, then they broke it down to Compton. They just dropped the bill off of Compton and kept it at Compton after that. Real talk. Much love, Carlos.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, shout out to you, Carlos.
I actually wanted to talk, speaking of since we're sticking to the topic of Compton, your work with the Compton Chamber of Commerce.
Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, okay, now.
Always put there. It's 2 or 3 of us out there. As the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce, because Compton has such a rich history, Compton has, when it comes to people blowing up, Compton go back, we got presidents. The Bushes used to live in Compton. George Lopez from Compton. Anthony Anderson from Compton. So when you got so many people that's from the city, and I ain't talking about, I ain't got to Venus and Serena and Dre and Drake, but there's so many people you don't know. The first guy that created NFL. What's his name? Damn it, I can't think of his name. Anyway, from Compton College. Damn, he got Vince Lombardi. Was it Vince Lombardi? He got a trophy named after him. Anyway,
yeah, party, yeah.
And we got baseball players, football players, basketball players, lawyers, doctors. Compton is the first on a lot of different levels. First black mayor, first black female mayor on this this side of the Mason-Dixon. So you got all these different accomplishments Compton has had, and nobody has really taken time to highlight that. Man, Compton got a lot to offer, a lot of history to offer, and because I know this history, because I've been around forever, I feel it's somebody's job to create some type of a venue to let this history be known. That's what I'm working on right now, the Compton Walk of Fame.
That's dope.
My boy Cloud, I see. My boy Cloud, I've been there since it was Gibsonville. Yeah, right. See, there you go.
He's old. Hey, but you own something right there, Alonso, with the Compton Walk of Fame. But let me ask you this too, briefly. I'm only saying because I'm thinking about it. Whatever happened with the Compton High School, the rebuilding? I think Dr. Dre and
it's coming up. It's coming up, Doc. They're not playing.
Okay.
They're not playing. They tore down Compton High School a few years back, and they rebuilt it again. I passed by there yesterday, and it's coming together very well. And they got the same plans for Centennial. They're going, as soon as Compton is finished, they're going to tear down Centennial and do it the same way.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you about Super Bowl 2022.
Go ahead.
So Eve After Dark, if for those who paid close attention to the display that they had, Eve After Dark was had a little section over there with that display. Do you feel like that was a thank you to you, or do you think that was just kind of like, this is where we started?
I think it's a little bit of both, babe. I think it's a little bit of both. When I saw that, I was at the Super Bowl that Sunday. I was there. I've been trying to catch Dre that whole week, actually about 3 or 4 weeks. Hey man, holler at me when you get a chance to. Everybody I knew that had a direct contact, man, have Dre give me a holler. I want to holler. I'm gonna be at the Super Bowl. I ain't extra no tickets and nothing. I just want to holler at him when he get, come by his suite and hang out for a minute. And I never talked to him. And I realized they kept that whole Eve After Dark thing a top secret. Everybody it was top secret. NDAs had to be signed. The whole Compton thing was a don't talk about it NDA top secret situation. We're gonna bust on the world just all this at the same time. And when I saw it, I cried like a baby. I mean, I didn't cry like a baby, but it brought tears to my eyes, man, because that's something that I built and we made that popular at our time, and it was introduced to the world. But like a true player, like I said, you don't never panic, you pivot. People I was with was pissed off. He could have called you and told you. He could invite. No. That's okay. I ain't mad about that. But a real player, you don't panic, you pivot. That's when 5 days later, we was on a documentary. 5 days later, we making a documentary. We not waiting. No. I ain't got time to be upset. Same thing when they just straight out of Compton. I started writing my book in 2010. And I was writing the book to beat my competition, Roger Clayton from Uncle Jam's Army. I wanted to beat him before I got, beat him to the book. We both were talking about writing books, and whoever tells the best lie first that's gonna be the truth. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna beat him to the story. So he got to go and get my truth, and the nigga died.
Rest in peace, man, Roger.
When he died, I stopped writing the book. There was no reason to write the book no more. Yeah. I lost all interest in writing the book until about 2013. I started hearing about the NWA movie, and that's what gave me the motivation to finish my book. Because I knew they was going to do something. I didn't know what, but I wanted to be able to play off of that. And again, when you're a real player, you don't panic, you pivot. And that's what I did. I pivoted. So now I've dropped my book, NWA, Now Without Alonso, on Amazon Prime right now, And Again, same thing. Super Bowl. I saw opportunity to make something happen, and that's why we did what we did. And I'm still building, dude. And this is the fun part for me, man. This is the fun part for me.
How did it make you feel to see the depiction that they had of you as opposed to Jerry Heller's depiction in the very beginning? Do you kind of feel like it was a slap in the face in a sense, or were you not too worried?
You know, when I looked at the overall movie, when I first saw it, and I saw they have somebody playing me, I thought that was kind of cool. But then they started playing me as a hater. And anybody knows me, if I was a hater, ain't no way in the world I'd have did all the shit that I've done. Because you can't do that being a hater. But I understand the movie business.
Yeah.
You got to have what they call the antagonist. Okay? And they gave me the antagonist role. I realized once I started seeing everybody having alcohol in their hand, every scene there was alcohol, and I know for a fact, ain't nobody ever drank around me. All the years I've known him, Yella ain't never drank nothing, period. Dre started drinking after he left World Class Wrecking Crew. I never drink. I ran nightclubs. I don't really drink that much. I will. I don't have to have no. I knock down me a shot of yak from time to time, but it's not on my mandatory to-do list. And when I started seeing the inconsistencies of the portrayal of us, then I realized, again, it's just a story. It's not. That wasn't a documentary. It just was a movie. And movies do what they call creative license that can, as long as they didn't make me out to be something I really wasn't. And I can be an asshole sometimes. I have to be. You have to be when you're a boss. You can't be everybody's friend every damn day. If you think you can be somebody's friend every day, try that with your kids, see what happens. If you're a real boss, you're going to fall out with your people from time to time. Yeah. I've been a boss since I was 19 years old, so I done fell out with a few people. And eventually, they appreciate it because the people that raised me, I fell out with them. And hey man, I'm sorry, dude. I see what you're talking about. I get what you were saying now.
Hey, but at least you didn't take the Suge route, right? Because Suge, like you same way he was depicted, he got mad and went down there and you see what happened with him. You know what I mean?
Dude, again, that comes from life and experience. Yeah. You know, some things ain't worth fighting for, and damn sure ain't worth going to penitentiary for. And this is something that youngsters don't understand right to this day. Everything ain't worth killing and dying for.
Right.
Yeah.
Some shit, let it go. Go on about your business. Live another day. Yeah, you living, but you living in the penitentiary, man. Come on, dude. I just did a show before I did this show. I did my podcast, and a brother called in from the penitentiary up somewhere up north, and he's doing life. He's doing 50 years of life. You tell me what's worth 50 years of life. 50 years to life. He went to jail when he was 17.
Wow.
17. 50 years to life, and he's consoling cats that got all day without the possibility. All day without the possibility. You'll never go home again unless the jail walls fall down. You're gonna die here.
Right.
Ain't nothing that serious, man. And that's the part I learned about gangbanging when I was 17, is that some of these guys' mentality, they will kill and die for anything, dude. And that don't make no sense. I'm sorry, man.
That's a fact, because it don't be worth it years later. The half of them, like people that's locked up now, what they did it for don't even matter no more.
Dude,
right.
Homeboy was saying he was rolling with a set. He ain't got a card. He ain't got a dollar. He ain't got a visit from nobody. The cat that was supposed to been down with him so hard ain't sent him no draws, no cup of noodles, no nothing. No, man, nah, yeah, I'm good.
Can we talk about your podcast a little bit?
Go ahead.
Tell us all about it, what it is, where we can find it.
I do a podcast every Tuesday live on my channel, on YouTube and on my TV channel. It's called NWA Stories with Alonso. And some things I talk about, like we are right now, talk about the NWA, some of the things we did. But most of the time we talk about today's hip hop from a grown ass man's perspective. And that is That's my role as a triple OG. I cannot promote gang banging on no level, man. I'm sorry, dude. I can't deal with an artist that's trying to do that because I know it ain't gonna work out well for you. How can I lead you down that path when I know it ain't gonna work for you? I don't need the extra attention because I don't need somebody shooting at you, missing you, and hitting my ass. Hell no. No, them niggas can't shoot straight. They shoot at the wrong. Every time you look around, the person next to them get hit. Fuck that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. So yeah, I do a podcast, and like I told my boy, I've been doing the podcast now about 5 or 6 years. And man, you're gonna tell all your stories. Look, I've been doing this shit for over 40 years. I can talk for another 40 years, and I'll tell you everything that you know, but I'll never tell you everything that I know. Some things I am saving for my own book and my documentaries, and I got a rich history, folks. I got a rich history.
You also have a comic book for the babies.
I got a comic. The comic book kind of stumbled up on me. This dude named a comic book artist named Ed Pexner. He created a bunch of comic book series that was done. Talks about the beginning of New York and West Coast hip hop. And when I saw it, and I was on the cover, me Yella and Dre is on the cover, and I'm all in the comic book. At that time they were very cheap. I bought all of them. They're part of my my book signings when I go out. I'm almost out of them now. He only made 500. I must have bought 400 of them, and they're part of my merchandise. When you're a real player, you don't panic. You just pivot.
That's right. That's right. Oh, go ahead, Deandra.
I just wanted to ask about his newspaper.
The newspaper. The Hub City Legend. Again, it's an opportunity I saw in Compton. Compton is a big city. A lot of things that happen in Compton in a positive way, but just like when it comes to the TV stations, most of the time the TV stations don't show up till some yellow tape is involved. Mm-hmm. You got street takeovers, robbery. They got all kind of cameras everywhere. But when good things that happen in the city, nobody covers it. So I created a TV channel and a newspaper that covers on all aspects of Compton. I'm not focusing on the negativity. We're trying to get that up off of us real quick. We're trying to show the positive side of Compton. Is a community, is a family community, whether you want to believe it or not. Yes, we still have Crips and Bloods, but for the most part, Compton is a family community. And again, when you see families out there having a good time, I just covered a Cinco de Mayo event Saturday. It was just as many black folks there as it was Latinos. Just as many black folks as Latinos. And black folks are dancing, line dancing to mariachi music. I'm like, how do y'all know what y'all doing? But they did it. So when you see this kind of stuff happening in the city, I think as a person as an entertainer, I feel that's content. It ain't the Kendrick and Drake content, but it's content. And I need to be able to control that. And that's what I do with the newspaper. My next issue comes out Thursday. We do a digital version. We also do a hard copy as well. Because we have a lot of people in Compton, a lot of senior citizens, they want the hard copy. The youngsters, and that's the difference. One thing about Compton is very unique because you have a big senior citizen population, you got a big Latino population, and you got a big young adult digital population. So everybody wants their content in different ways. So we got to give it to them.
And there's portions. Are the newspapers available in Spanish, or you want it to be?
I have a Spanish section. I'm trying to expand it right now. We just added a Spanish with small Spanish section, but I'm just pitching something to the city right now. We'll have a whole Spanish section where they can where everything will be flipped. All the flyers from the city come in Spanish and English. So we're trying to make that a part of the newspaper as well, where people can see what we have going on in Spanish and English.
That's dope. Hey, Alonso, can I ask you too about recently Easy E got his own street there, Easy Street. Congratulations to that. That's a big look, and I know that kind of goes hand in hand, even what you were saying, making a Compton Walk of Fame and all that. But I say that to say this: I know you've been involved with that, with the Easy Street. You even wanted to get some things changed, like the back wall there. I think you said where they could change it to where it won't be people writing graffiti; it could be respected, kind of like a
Right.
mural or something like that, where they'll just be respected and people, you know what I mean? Tell us about that. First, Easy getting his own street and your involvement and what you're trying to do with that.
Well, as the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce and the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, last year was the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and the Easy Street thing had been tried before, and it wasn't successful because as I started doing my research to find out how to get it done, one, there was no precedent to get it done, and two, every place I went to try to find out how to get it done, you had to go through the citizens and had to vote on it. But because we found a street in Compton that was attached to an old auto plaza, and nobody had an address attached to that auto plaza. It was called Auto Plaza Drive. It's right there in the shopping center, on the south side of the shopping center. And we looked it up, Googled it, and it goes to Alameda, across the train tracks, over to Santa Fe, and there was no addresses attached to it, which means we ain't got to ask nobody's permission. The city council passed the ordinance, the agenda, put on the agenda. The cost factor was minimum, and we made it happen in June. I mean, in November 22nd.
So you had a lot to do with that. People don't even know that.
I did it. I'm the one that did it.
Wow, I'm saying people probably don't even know that. I didn't even really know that. I know you were
Yeah,
involved. I didn't know that. So
I'm the one.
that's
I'm the one. I'm the one that pitched it to the city council. I'm the one that stood before the city council. I pitched it to my city council person, Ms. Lily Darden, and she liked the idea. We got it on the agenda. I went before the city council, spoke on it, worked with the maintenance to get the signs made. Went out, put the event together, did the whole presentation, the whole 9 yards. Again,
wow.
you see that behind me. You see that behind me. That was Alonso, baby.
Yes, sir. That's
But
beautiful.
I can't take all the credit because I got to give my credit to my boy Big A from the Dog Pound. He managed the Dog Pound. He was my right hand man when it came to coordinating the family, but when it came to the logistics of getting things done, that was Alonso project.
Dope, brother. Dope. Wow.
You've done so much for the music industry and for the city of Compton. We commend you so much. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
So, is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to speak on?
Shoot, y'all did pretty good. Yeah, I hit a bunch. We hit a bunch. We've been on the show now for an hour and a half. We did real good. Okay.
Legend. We want to make sure that we definitely cover everything that you're currently doing and all the history that you've brought to the world of hip hop, especially for hip hop heads like us. Like, we really appreciate what you've done in the industry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I've come to realize that I look at me being the roots of West Coast hip hop, but my tree is so big and the leaves are so broad, don't no water get on the roots, no sunlight gets on the roots. But if the roots wasn't here, you wouldn't have no tree.
Right.
When you got guys like Dre and Cube coming out your camp and Easy, and then you got Dre in his camp. I mean, all these are branches of a tree. Snoop and Eminem and 50 Cent. All this comes back from one person. You know, like one trunk, one set of roots. Got all this going on. People forget where it all started at. But as long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna remind their asses, huh?
I'm sure you're proud of the accomplishments, even though you haven't gotten your proper credit. I'm sure you feel like the dad that raised his sons to catapult stardom.
You know, when Cube gets his Walk of Fame, He makes sure, hey Alonso, I need you to be at the Walk of Fame, man. I'm there, and he puts me in his speech. Okay, that's love. When Cube does interviews and he talks about how I don't get enough credit, that's love. Now he don't know everything that I've done. We never really talked about it, but again, he thinks enough of my history to mention it. And one day, hopefully, someday shortly, someday soon, we'll be able to talk about it. Because he's a busy dude, I am too. But I would love to really let these folks know that, most of what happened didn't become because it came because I got ADHD and I had some money. That's that. At 22 years old, I was making a grip, and I'm still like this. I got a bunch of ideas, and I had the money to finance the shit, and because I grew up in an era where they taught you a lot of shit in junior high school, I'm good with my hands. So anything I didn't buy, I could build, and that's true to this day. So again, I'm a baby boomer. So we was taught how to weld in the 8th grade. We was building go-karts and shit in the 8th grade, and it wasn't no OSHA, but things were different.
Hey, Lonzo, let me ask you this one more thing. I just want to ask, and I'm done. Speaking on Cube again, like you said, you want to chop it up with him. Hopefully, you guys get to make something happen. But being that he's already a movie guy, and I know they did NWA already, all that. But you think it's something you guys can connect with and make something happen, some type of movie or something? Being that Cube is already the movie guy connected, make something that what I mean, not straight out of Compton, but like you said, more of your story. And there's just a lot to be told still, right? And I think the world will want to see that.
I would love to pitch that to him. I would love to. He knows enough of the story, and I think he has enough foresight to make something like that happen. I would love to get with him, pitch that story, and just, hey man, because it includes you. You can control it. You can help control your narrative. But again, you got to go back to the '70s. We was locking, man. You can't just start when folks start spinning on their head. You got to go back to Don Campbell and the Lockers, and they was on Soul Train, and because Soul Train was a major influence on everybody. I still say Soul Train was probably one of the first ancient, I'm gonna say ancient because it was old, forms of hip hop, because it was different, man. It wasn't like nothing else. Soul Train, when the Lockers hit Soul Train, and you got people jumping around in knickerbockers and long ass socks and hats all turned to the side and doing some dance. Them dances were very intricate at that time, and that led to locking and breaking and other things. So these are some of the things, man, that you can't. That wasn't. That's the starting the East Coast. We had a different thing here on the West Coast. Okay, we had a different thing. We partied with a different purpose. And like I said, Kool Herc never made a record, but they still give him his love. I ain't never known the record ever make a record. He may have had one. I never heard it. I never heard him do a record label. I never heard anybody come from him as a artist or a businessman. He gave birth to hip hop, but no artist.
Right.
I did all that plus. And it's hard to talk about yourself without sounding conceited. But damn, if I don't tell you, you won't know.
Right. I get it.
You deserve flowers while you're here. Yeah. That's why we have shows like this. This is why we have Changing the Game, to be able to give the newcomers and the legends their platforms that they deserve to tell their story and for people to remember where it came from. Right.
And Don Cornelius was very innovative, and I followed in his footsteps, Doc. You asked me a question about what else am I doing? Mm-hmm. We're in the process. We're remodeling the Eve After Dark. The Eve is still standing. Doodles is gone. Skateland is gone. The Eve is still standing right to this day, and we are in the process as we speak to remodel the Eve, and hopefully, if everything goes time-wise, we will reopen the Eve 45 years to the day it opened in 1979.
Wow.
June 22nd, 1979 was the first party I had at Eve After Dark. That was the grand opening. June 22nd, 1979. And hopefully, if we get past all these inspections and other stuff, June 22nd, we'll be back again for the first time with a grand opening. And that's what's on my agenda.
Well,
That's incredible.
yes, if you make that happen, and with any future projects that you have, but like we tell all of our guests, you're always more than welcome to come back and promote.
You got it. I appreciate it.
Hey, one more thing.
There.
You said it already. Go ahead.
I know, right? Because when you say so, I gotta just remember. But is there anyone still, like you started so long ago, brother? We're talking about all these younger dudes and people that ain't even giving you the proper credit or whatever the case. Is there anyone still that was there, around with you, friends, colleagues, anyone that you are still able to be here with today and kind of celebrate the success you have and the things that you can kick back with people that know that were kind of there with you from day one, or are all them gone now, or what? I don't know.
Let me say this. In West Coast hip hop, there are 3 day ones. 3. There's only 3. Okay? There was myself, Roger from Uncle Jam's Army, and Unknown DJ. Unknown DJ is a man that produced King T, Ice T, Compton's Most Wanted. All those are his groups. Not to mention he had his own group, X-Men, and a few other things. Okay. Unknown don't do interviews. He and I talk on a regular basis. We talk, and we'll have some back in the day conversations. We do it all the time. But for whatever reason, he don't do interviews. Roger passed in 2010. That leaves me, okay? And that's why I do as much as I do, because the story, one day I ain't gonna be here, and y'all gonna replay this shit, and I want the shit to be right. Damn it, don't be lying on me and shit.
Right.
Because when people write stories, man, when I read Jerry Heller's book, I'm like, I didn't do that. People write stories all the time, and they lie about me because you don't know. You don't know because you never asked me. And people do research on other people's misinformation, and they put that keep putting that shit on, keep putting it out, and that's not true. It's not much in West Coast hip hop I've not had my hand in. Okay, for being one of the first, but me and Roger both worked at a record distributor. My last job where I punched the clock was 1979, and I worked at a record distributor. That's why when I left and started making I got fired, I took my list with me. Didn't know why I wanted it, but I just took it with me. And when I started making my underground mixes in 1980, all those stores became my accounts. Everybody that I sold to for Record Shack became my accounts. And I developed my own underground network for my bootlegs. So by the time Wreckin' Crew came out in 1982, I had my own network. And because of the legitimate record, they was going all over the country. So I knew how to sell records before anybody else. Well, not before anybody else, but hip hop records before anybody else did. Plus, I come from the Cletus Anderson, rest his soul, and Duffy Hooks era.
Yep.
And
Hooks.
I
was saying Duffy Hooks, salute.
Rest his soul as well.
Yes.
Duffy Hooks, Cletus Anderson. Cletus was the baddest retailer in the damn city. He owned the VIP records chain. And because he owned VIP, he sold records around the country. So these are all my mentors. So when people come to me, with his records, who else you gonna go to? You don't know nobody else. I'm in the streets. I'm selling to the swap meets because by the 80s, the swap meets is jumping off. I'm selling to Mr. Park at the swap meet, and I didn't understand how the swap meets work. When you sell to one, you can't sell to nobody else. They don't play that. When you sell to Mr. Park buys all the records. He buys all the records from Alonso for all the swap meet. Now somebody else may buy them someplace else, but when it came to them Xerox and cut up and dance masters, and all them underground mixes I was making back in the 80s, Mr. Park was the man. So this is the kind of stuff Cube don't know that. Dre don't know that. He didn't roll with me on that. So all these transitions I've made in my life, from being a DJ to being a club owner to a record manufacturer, the artist, then a label owner, then back to being a concert promoter. People don't know I promote concerts. And I had my club at Hollywood Park Casino. I was promoting Zapp, Lenny Williams. I brought Zapp. I was the first one to bring Zapp to California after Roger died. All this Cameo, I did all this kind of stuff at my spot. So again, I'm a gambler. I don't mind taking a chance.
Right.
And I use my own money.
Right. Well, you've done it all, Alonso. I don't know what you haven't done, bro. I don't know.
Still ain't got rich yet, though. I've been nigga rich 4 or 5 times, but I ain't hit that. I've been nigga rich 4 or 5 times. You nigga rich, you can be broke again, okay?
Oh my God!
But you know what? I make a joke. I say, God know, if I hit a major lick, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now.
Right?
Because he know me. He know me. I can retire, but I enjoy what I do so much. But again, if there's enough money, you seen Lonzo? I don't know. I saw a boat smoking, a plane went that way. He was waving out the goddamn window.
But I don't think you can ever leave Compton though, because I'm sure, like you said, you still there to this day. I'm sure you could have moved, you could have sold your house, because I know it's probably worth a whole lot more. You seem like you love Compton.
You know what? I love Compton, but I ain't that in love where I won't go no place else. But again, if you knew where I lived at in LA, you'd understand why I wouldn't want to move. I get the ocean breeze. I'm not in a gang-infested neighborhood. Now they're all around me, but not my neighborhood. I can walk my dog at night. I can walk at night by myself. All I gotta do is watch out for coyotes. Man, fuck them. I got a golf club for their asses. I live in a decent area. That one of the few areas in Los Angeles does not have a gang attached to it. And I've been there for 40 years, damn near 40 years, Doc. So my weather is pretty good, and I don't like my daughter has a beautiful house in Reno Valley, but it gets hot as hell out there. Vegas get hot. Atlanta is muggy as shit in the summertime, and it get cold. I like my little where I'm at right now. I'm good.
That's right.
They got some ideas for you, Lonzo.
What's that?
Carlos is active. He got a lot of ideas. He said, "What about producing a show and get the Wreckin' Crew type music festival? I guess in Compton or in I don't know."
I'm working on a festival right now for Juneteenth over at Compton College. So I'm gonna be a producer. I can't perform and produce a show, but that's a good idea, Carlos. I would love to be on the show with some. They put us with the freestylers right now. They don't put us with hip hop no more. They put us with the freestyle folks. Okay.
Could you ever see Wreckin' Crew doing a reunion? I'm sorry. I just thought about that. Could you ever see Wreckin' Crew doing a reunion, just even for one night?
Oh yeah, it's very possible. I'm not opposed to that, man. Me and Clientele was getting together right before the pandemic. We both graduated from Gardena High School, although I went to Centennial, and we would do shows once a year. All the musicians that came from Gardena High School. We do a big show at the Cali Bar and Grill out in Hollywood, and we always do a couple of songs. And we've talked about doing some other things. In fact, Yella, after he came back, said he wanted to come back with us and join us doing some songs. And Mona Lisa's available, the girl who sang Lovers. Michelle, right. I ain't talked to her, but enough money to make anybody move.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
How is your current relationship with everybody who was part of Wreckin' Crew? Is it still pretty?
Me and Clientele talk all the time. Me and Yella talk all the time. Nobody talks to Dre. That's another atmosphere. Yeah. That's just another atmosphere. But yeah, we all cool.
That's good.
Yella talks to Dre from time to time, but most of the time, that's a whole different stratosphere.
Yeah.
Mm.
You have been probably one of the most amazing guests that we've had. We've had so
Well,
much
thank
to
you.
talk about, and we really appreciate you coming on.
I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you guys having me on. It's all good.
Incredible, brother. I know we can go all night. I know it's just we don't have no time, but this was incredible, man. Incredible, Alonso. And I just love getting this history because, like you said, we're not gonna always have it here. We're not gonna have you. We're not gonna have us here. This will live on forever. You know.
That it
Thank
will. That it will. All right, folks. We out.
We are out.
All
Thank
right,
you
peace,
so
folks.
much.
Thank y'all
you.
for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank
Hold
y'all
up,
for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Alonso.
Don't leave us yet.
You leave, tell the people they can go check out your show, your podcast, and then the book, the documentary. Plug all that shit before you get out of here.
All right. My book is on Amazon. My documentary is on Tubi, Amazon, and the Compton Entertainment Channel. On my own channel, you'll see the film festival version is a little bit more raw. Okay, it's different music. We'll talk about it, but check it out on my channel if you get a chance to. The Compton Entertainment Channel. What else I got going on? Look for the Eve After Dark. But before I go, I'm gonna drop something on y'all right quick.
Drop it.
For those who've never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre into surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer till he got cold on the Eve After Dark 50-yard line Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that NWA stands for Not Without Alonso. Peace.
There it is. Did it again, Deandra. Hey,
Wonderful, wonderful interview.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. That was amazing. I knew
Yeah.
it would be, but hey, it was changing the game, y'all.
Yes. And next week we have a guest that's just as great. We have Christina Solis, also known as Baby Doll from Movie La Loca. She'll be here next week.
Oh, we got another one. Oh man. So you guys know you got to come back. It just only gets better. I know they're gonna have a lot of questions and want to get more of that history. You know what I mean? And Vida look crazy. You heard her right there. So make sure you're here next week. We're gonna do it again.
Until next week, everybody, we are still changing the game.
Yay. Deandra Chanel, the beautiful Deandra Chanel. I am G-Lew. Shout out to DD Hairston, our producer, and everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight for another incredible episode. If you came in late, you missed anything, all you got to do go back and hit rewind or check the shit out later. It'll be there online for you guys to check out, man. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate the love, and we'll do it again next time. Love. Peace, y'all. We out of here. Thank you, Deandra.
Of course. Good night.